Hi buddy, I hope you're keeping well. I'm Geethika Cooray and I'm the Vice President and General Manager of WS2 IAM. And I want to welcome you all back to this video series where we focus on talking about everything to do with Identity and Access Management, or IAM, for Agentic AI. In our last video, the second of the series, we spoke about the evolution of agents and its use in application. We also spoke about how traditional identity access management doesn't really cut it when it comes to securing these all-powerful agents. And today, we're going to take a deeper dive into the capabilities we have launched here at WS2, and we're going to take you through some of these capabilities in depth and also demo these capabilities for you. And in order to do this, I am joined by Ayesha Dissanayaka. Ayesha is our lead architect focused on building out WS2's IAM capabilities for Agentic AI. So Ayesha, during our last video, we spoke about the traditional methods that are being used to secure the agents that are being released and being used today in practice. We also discussed how that doesn't really meet the needs or will not meet the needs in practical use because these capabilities don't really scale well. It will also lead to concerns of being able to audit the agents, and also there are certain concerns when it comes to representing or its inability to represent the true nature of these powerful agents. Right? So as I answered, which is why we launched WS2's Agent ID capabilities. So before we get into the nitty-gritties, why don't you take us through the thinking process of releasing these features and the actual capabilities that we have launched?
Thanks for having me back, Geeks. First, we start with registering and managing agents as first-class entities so that we give a unique identifier to each and every agent. And then we issue agent-friendly credentials so that the agent can authenticate themselves to the system and verify that this is a legitimate agent that we have already onboarded. And next, we can assign roles and decide what are the access levels and privileges that we want to give these agents so that they only get the necessary permission levels. And on top of, once we set up these authentication mechanisms and access control levels, then agents can request for tokens, and then we issue tokens that has information about the agent when they are working on behalf of a user, and and the entitlement that these agents have or delegated by users when they're acting on behalf of a user. And at the end of the day, we need to be able to audit these agent activities. Yep. So for that, we include metadata information about the agents acting in this flow, so that the resource servers can look at those look at that information and may audit that these are the actions performed. This is an action performed by an agent at this time. Later, we can use them for forensic analysis, as well as we can set up monitoring and alerts on top of these audits so that we can monitor the agent's behaviors to identify any abnormalities.
Oh, that sounds great, Ayesha. But I think what will be very useful for our viewers now is to go into a demo and see exactly how all of that works. Right? And before we go into the demo, if we start off on the demo, just want to quickly explain the demo scenario that we'll be using today. We'll be using a hotels chain. We call it the Asgardeo hotels as an enterprise that we'll be using. And then the scenario specifically will be one that a user comes onto the website and goes on to make a reservation. Right? Before we bring the agents into the picture, let's set a baseline. And we'll start off with the traditional pre-agentic era of making the reservation of a user coming on the website and going through the process. Start off there.
Yeah. So I think having that with Agentic AI capabilities and without Agentic AI capabilities will make things much easier to understand.
Let's start with the Asgardeo Leisure platform without any Agentic AI capabilities. So if you look at this high-level component diagram, here we have a user-facing front end, where a user would regularly come and interact with for doing their hotel bookings and finding out hotels and managing the bookings and so forth. And then there are a set of backend services that will cater to this particular hotel management business app, which has APIs for finding out available hotels, making a booking and doing the payments and so and stuff. And this particular system is secured with Asgardeo at the moment, and this web application is securely connected to Asgardeo, and users are managed within Asgardeo so that they will authenticate and authorize themselves to the system to make bookings and view their existing bookings. So this is the web interface of this Asgardeo Hotels website, and there's no any AI capabilities incorporated yet, and I can sign in as a regular user would do in manual terms. I will use a dummy user account for this and log in here, and then I can browse to hotels. Let's say I want to find a hotel in Gaul for a particular date, and there's one, and I can view the details and I can make a booking going through it manually. So if I go to the booking, so now this particular booking is added for me. Now let's go and introduce Agentic AI capabilities into the system. So now I have onboarded 2 AI agents into the system. One is the booking assistant agent that interact with the user as a chat interface, and there's another agent that's running behind the scene in the background that look at the user's personality profile and then allocate a staff member for the period of that user's stay at a particular hotel, so that these hotels can provide personalized experience and guidance for the guest. That now let's see how these 2 agents can be secured with Asgardeo and how they can interact with the business APIs securely with the help of Asgardeo. In this particular setup, I have this user-facing front-end and the booking assistant agent running on my local machine, and this staff management services and booking system backend services running on Choreo, which is the internal developer platform of WSO2, and this staff allocation agent also running on Choreo. And I have connected GPT-4 as the AI model for both of these agents. First, let me register these agents in Asgardeo. So this is the Asgardeo console, if you are already familiar with the Asgardeo product. And there we have new section for managing agents and governing their access. So I have already registered both of my agents here. And if you have new one, you can register those agents through this interface. And then the system will generate a unique ID for this agent and a secret as a credential for the first interactions. Similar to a user, an agent can have different attributes that defines agent and what this agent is. So these are some of the attributes provided out of the box, but you can configure other attributes that you require to maintain about these agents. And then under the credential section, you can regenerate these secrets, as well as there are new different types of credentials are coming into this. And under the role section, this shows what are the different roles assigned to this agent. Now I have this Asgardeo guest assistant agent and a unique ID generated for that agent, and Asgardeo staff management agent also registered in this system. If I go to the implementation of these agents, so I haven't enabled the AI agent yet, so I will enable this chat component in my web interface. And in the environment file, I have already configured agent ID, its secret, and what are the URLs that it needs to connect to authenticate, and where the backend APIs are hosted. Now back on the hotel website, I can see now there is a chat assistant, and I can interact with this chat assistant in natural language. So I'm asking the assistant to find a hotel for me in a particular city, and it will look, and it has found a hotel for me. I will go with the deluxe option. Ask it to confirm my reservation, and at this point agent is asking for my approval, because now it's going to make a booking for me and I have to approve this particular request. For that, I will log in. Now it says that my reservation is completed. Under the bookings, now I can see this new reservation made by Asgardeo guest assistant agent. So the previous booking was done by me, but this new booking was done by the Asgardeo guest assistant agent on behalf of me. And if you go to the details, you can see that there is a contact person assigned for this particular stay which was done by the background agent or the staff management agent that was running behind the scene. So let me talk a bit more about the access controls of these agents. So under the roles section, you can see what are the roles assigned to these agents. So this guest assistant agent, it doesn't have any specific roles, but if you look at the staff management agent, you can see that staff management agent has hotel admin role. Let's look at the role section in detail. So this staff allocation agent wants to look at the staff member details and look at the availability of staff members and assign a member to a particular booking, and for that it requires access to look at the bookings and make updates to those bookings. That's why this particular role has those permissions. So since that role is assigned to the staff allocation agent, that agent will get those capabilities and those permissions to make at the runtime. But since this Asgardeo guest assistant agent didn't have any specific permission, then there's a question: how does that agent get access to make a booking? So that comes through delegation, because guest assistant agent is working on behalf of guest or the users, so they work on top of delegated permissions given by the users. So at the time the agent was about to make a booking, it was earlier you saw that it asked the user to authorize. So at that point, once the user go through the login flow and authorize, then the guest assistant get inherit users permissions to make those actions. We have introduced an auth2 extension for this on behalf of user authorization for AI agents, and then let's look at the observability and the auditability of these agents' actions. So I'm on the Courier console, this where the backend APIs are hosted. So you can see there's a booking. So if you look at this particular request to the bookings API to make a booking, there's a sub and there's a act. Sub is the user that requested the booking, and act is the agent who made the actual booking on behalf of that user. If you look at the previous entry for the same endpoint, so you can see there is no act entry here, because as the user I made the direct booking from the website without using agent. So that way we enable comprehensive auditing for AI agents, so that you can trace back what actions these agents did and when. To summarize what just happened, so this diagram shows what are the different entities that were engaged in this during this flow. So there's a user, and there is an agent that's working on behalf of the user, and there is an agent that's working on its own as an ambient agent, and there are a set of backend systems secured with Asgardeo. So when the user is acting on its own and manually doing the booking, it uses a regular user token, and that which has permissions to access back necessary APIs. And when the agent is working on behalf of the user, we obtain on behalf of a token, and when the agent is acting on its own, we obtain agent token by providing agent's identity and its credential to the Asgardeo, and that token has entitlement required for that agent's actions. And then when the agent is acting on behalf of a user, we obtain a new type of token called OBO token. That is a combination of agent token and the delegated user authorization, where the token has information about the user who delegates the permission and about the agent who's acting on behalf of the user. Let me show you on behalf of a token, and this is a decoded token, and here the sub is the user who's delegating permission and who needs the action to be done, and then it has this act claim which has the information about the agent who's acting on behalf of the user, and the scopes are provided by means of delegation when the user authorizes the agent to make actions.
Thanks a lot, Ayesha. I think that was very clear. I'm sure our viewers were able to take a lot from that session. So folks, if you haven't, already, I invite you all to visit wc.com/Asgardeo and try out these features for yourselves. These are not, everything that Ayesha just took you through are not merely concepts. They are actually features that are already running and available for you to try out yourself. And with that, we conclude this video. Thanks for joining us, Ayesha. And for our next video in the series, we'll be talking about all these Agent ID capabilities on top of MCP, which potentially might be very interesting and controversial as well. So folks, tune in for our next video, the 4th of the series. Until then, thank you and enjoy.